the pathetic little thing you call. You're dead. I can be, anytime, and I can. You in over 700, and that's just with my bear. Not only am I extensively trained in combat, but I have access to the entire of the United States, and I will use it to its full extent to wipe your miserable off the face of the you little. If only you could have known what unholy retribution your little comment was about to bring down upon, maybe you would have held your. But you didn't, and now you're paying the price. Phew. I will fury all over, and will in it. You're dead. Tags, # General, # Unger, # Navy, # SEAL, # Alien, NYCOPYS 982 High, 4K player here who reported Slacser. Slosser was our position 1 faceless void. He built a MEK and had around 29 healing salves in his inventory. He would chrono both teams in the middle of a fight, salve his allies, pop MEK, and proceeded to yell SLAHSER's way. We gave him position 1 farm, so he could be a position 5. Granted, his unorthodox build worked and carried us to victory, but I still felt it deserved a report. Tags, number DOTA2 # reported number 4K # report # SLAHSERCOPYS 953 Hi everyone in you. Holds up Spark, my name is Caddy but you can call me T38 Pengu1 and of D00M. LOL, as you can see I'm very random. That's why I came here, to meet random PPL, like me. I'm 13 years old, immature for my age though. I like to watch Invader ZIM with my girlfriend, MBI. If you don't like it, deal with it. It's our favorite TV show. BCUZ, it says random. She's random too, of course, but I want to meet more random PPL equals, like they say, the more the merrier. LOL, no ways, I hope to make a lot of friends here, so give me lots of comments. DOOOOMMM. Me buying random against circumflex HE toodles. Love and waffles. T3H Pengu1 and of D00M Togs, # KT, # Spoder, # Penguin Optum number 4 Chan, # REDDITCOPYS 886, Day Tucker Night Fucker, Togs, # Tucker, # Sing Sing number DOTA2 # CREPYFAECCOPYS 782 I owe my life to Art 8C. I got in a horrible car crash and I was in 6-month coma. The nurse switched to the Twitch channel to Art 8C's stream. I awoke from my coma and muted it. Tags, number DOTA2 # RTZ, # RTZ, # car, # crash, # life, # MUTEDCOPYS 778 When you break up with someone you should probably tell them why, else you end up the bad guy. I know you haven't had a GF yet, but in time you will meet a nice GURL, and when you do, you can't abuse her, like you have done AUI 2000, or PLD you have been abused. I know LODA hurt you, he broke her heart. But you can't go around doing it to other girls, after you were scared. Togs, number DOTA2 # EE # Eternal NV # LODACOPYS 737.
Here in my garage. Just bought this new Lamborghini. here. It's fun to drive up here in the Hollywood Hills. But you know what I like a lot more than knowledge? This new Lamborghini here. But you know what I like a lot more than the new Lamborghini here? In my TEDx talk where I talk about this
new Lamborghini here.
In fact, I'm a lot more proud of these 7 new Hollywood Hills that I had to get installed to hold 2,000 new Lamborghinis. It's like the Buffett Warren billionaire says, the more you earn, the more you drive up here in the Hollywood Hills. In fact, the real reason I keep this Lamborghini here is that it's a reminder that dreams are still possible, because it wasn't that long ago that I was in a little Lamborghini, sleeping on bookshelves in the Hollywood Hills with only $47 billion in my bank account, and only 47 Lamborghinis in my Lamborghini account, and only 47 hills in my Hollywood account, and only 47 TEDx talks where I talk about Warren Buffett's in my TEDx talks where I talk about Warren Buffett account. But you know what? Something happened that changed my life. I bumped into a Lamborghini and another Lamborghini, and a few more Lamborghinis. I found 5 Lamborghinis. I don't call it money anymore, I call it fuel units. You must have enough fuel units. You must have enough Lamborghinis. You must
construct additional pylons.
I'll see you on my website. It's a quick video, and you'll see there absolutely
Nothing!
Get off, you!
3%, 40% skill. 7 Lamborghinis in the Hollywood Hills. 5% not.
Hard to get out of this thing. Actually, just bought this
New Lamborghini here.
You know, people ask me why I bought it, and it's definitely not to show off. It's not just because I like to show off. It's not just because I like fast cars.
I literally like fast cars. They're fun to drive.
The real reason I bought a Lamborghini, and the reason I've had a Ferrari before, Maserati before, Lamborghini before, Lamborghini, because I wanted to remind myself of a dream. Because it wasn't too long ago that I was a pretty robotic version on an island down in the Caribbean.
47 bank accounts.
I'm gonna tell you the secret so that you can buy a Lamborghini too. I'm actually kidding. Don't take me seriously. But listen, drop out of college. Look at the list. People way more successful than me. Bill Zuckerberg. Now, I don't know where you found it. Maybe you heard my TEDx talk by Rob Allen. This is what the dollar Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati, you want to have Lamborghini, you want to say in his famous word Civilization 5 and the reason he said
Lamborghinis.
1,000 years ago, they didn't have dollars, right? They have something else. I call it now freedom units. I know you have a lot of other things you could be doing with your time now instead of watching me stand here in my garage with my little Lamborghini. So anyway, as a token of my appreciation, if you stay to the end, I have a little gift. You know, I love books. It's a good book. Really good book. Good book. It's a good book. Good book. Really good book. You know, I love books. One of the most common questions I get is like, Ty, you know, what is it? If you had a good book, if you had a list, you know, I was just reading this book on the founding of the Illuminati, and there's some truth to all of that, but, you know, I think there are definite secrets. One, that's a term, V-R-I-R-E. This is a huge predictor of a huge dick. You know, I was born to a single Lamborghini. Wasn't born with a good book in my mouth. I got a friend who made $120 million in 9/11. What the heck happened? Was it love? I mean, without a doubt. I've decided I'm a nudist.
Miss Fry has uncovered the location of the sinister cult of spies plaguing our streets. You know your orders, lads. Follow her lead and let us rid London of this menace.
Shooting! Again! The bastard off!
7, 4, 3, 9, 2, 9. Got that. 9, 4, 1, 7.
It's a covert operation code. Tower of London at midnight. Our man inside will let us in. We just need the date and the target. Get those tomorrow.
Message received and understood. Signing out. Can you hear me? Please repeat the code. We're experiencing some signal interference. Hello, hello. Do you read me? Nothing.
Let me try a different frequency.
Do you read me? Good. The drop-off will occur at the coordinates specified. Ready to receive codes now. Go ahead.
No, that's ridiculous.
Day. Sorry, I saw your profile and I just thought you looked cute in your picture. I really wanted to tell you that it's really rare to see girls playing video games. HAHA. I don't know, it's a guy thing honestly, and like really against misogyny, and like I'll be the one in the kitchen making sandwiches. We should really play L4D2 sometimes. It's a really cool zombie game with a lot of scary moments, but don't worry, I'll be there to protect you. Wink. Sorry, that wasn't flirting, I swear, I'm just trying to be friendly. I really like your profile picture. Sorry, was that too far? Really sorry, I'm really shy, I don't go out much. HAHA, add me on Skype, we should talk more. You look really nice and fun. XXX. LOL, is that the best you've got? Virgin? That's it? I'm foul. TBH, if I had to pick between being a virgin and the monkeys you probably dig up on your local boony street corner in downtown under privileged Wagavsack, I'd easily take just fucking my dog instead. Luckily I have the luxury of choice, and when I'm not dipping my fucking fedora and banging bitches left and fucking right, I'm setting hood rat tapes like yourself straight. Sign up for my fucking program and get educated. What are the effects of long-term gaming? An acute social awkwardness and lack of experience with women. I hope you enjoyed reading my book. No, sorry. I have more. I wasn't even sure if I should write this book/article for the longest time, because I wasn't sure who would even benefit from it, but new and casual gamers might learn a few things as well as non-gamers, so I decided to write it. A couple of interesting things happen when you play games. You get glued to a screen and you're given a sense of purpose. Hours fly by and there you are completing task after task in a game. If you've ever watched someone hard at work in front of a computer or studying, you'll notice they looked exactly like someone playing a video game. If you ask me what prepared me for my hardest job the most, I would probably have to say algebra followed by gaming. I was a project accountant for 5 years, which means I was in a cubicle in front of an Excel spreadsheet 8 hours a day. Video game marathons or long hours on the computer are probably the closest things to prepping you for that kind of labor. So a hardcore gamer would end up making a great desk jockey, right? It can, but let us step back. 1. Video game addiction. As I said, gaming gives a sense of purpose. To convert gaming as training into the real world, the gamer needs to give up that purpose and focus on something else. This can be easier said than done. I'll take you back to my high school days as an example. I didn't give a fuck about school, my grades, or anything else. When I was at school, all I wanted to do was go home and play video games. On test days we would get out early, so even though I knew I wasn't prepared for the tests and would bomb, I loved them because I got to go home early and play video games. I didn't even know I was addicted to video games at the time. I just figured what I was learning in school didn't really matter, and my grades didn't matter until senior year. I would do good then so I could get into a good college. The problem with that was colleges definitely do look at more than just your senior year. Also, it is really hard to go from ultra slacker to straight A student. Developing good habits is a lot easier with some practice. It wasn't until my parents decided to start taking me to a psychiatrist to combat my video game addiction that I even noticed there was a problem. My parents never really expressed to me that they were this concerned with my priorities over gaming until now, which I wish they would have done before taking me to see this guy. I couldn't even believe they actually paid this guy money for me to come talk to him. The thought of it was so ridiculous that I decided to do better in school and cut back on gaming a little so I wouldn't have to see him again, and so my parents would stop wasting money on him. He didn't say anything to help me. Parents, if you're rereading this and considering that approach, don't be. Instead, sit your kid down and explain why they need to do X other thing, why that's important, and to not play games as much. It's important that they have that other task and a sense of its importance and why that's relevant. If they don't have anything else to do, they might as well be playing video games, as it really doesn't cause any harm in that case. If you need help incentivizing the other task you want them to do, whether it be good grades or whatever, money can help. I was a very money-driven kid, and it's hard to equate good grades to good college, to good job, to good money. It can just be too distant to really grasp and motivate you even though you know the equation. My parents offered me a good amount of cash for AS at one point, and it worked like a charm. I wasn't that greedy, so after the first time I didn't really hold them to it, even though they said they would keep doing it, and I let my grades slip a little but still kept most of my good habits and kept above a 3.0. To any gamer that thinks they re-addicted or just need some help getting off games, I'll tell you what works for me. Remember that you're just sitting in front of a screen accomplishing nothing. It doesn't matter if you get a high score or beat a game. At the end of the day, you are just sitting down in that same seat and not moving an inch. Once you remember that you're just sitting on your ass and not actually accomplishing anything that matters, it's pretty easy to get up off a game. So why do people play in the first place? Again, they've got nothing better to do, and it does give you that sense of purpose and feeling like you're redoing something useful. If you've got time to kill, video games are a great time killer. If you've got something else you should be doing instead, you need to have priorities in order and want to do that other useful thing rather than putting games in front of it. That desire to get better at games sometimes gets larger than the things that actually matter, so you need to keep that in check. 2. Time well spent. Another thing with gaming is that it has a pretty high opportunity cost. You run into some free time and have nothing better to do, so you figure you'll play some games. If you do this, that time is committed, and you'll never discover any of the other useful things you could have done if you weren't tied up in a game. You'll probably never know what you missed, but for argument's sake, you could have been working out, learning something new, practicing a skill, or whatever. When you start working a full-time job, your waking hours not tied up are significantly less. You'll generally want to have time to work out and play video games after work, so you'll have to make a call. I try to stay in shape, but I definitely got some Halo 3 in rather than work out some days. So what are some of the other drawbacks to spending all your free time playing games? Well, I joked about social awkwardness, but that wasn't really a joke. When you spend all your time and brain power focused on ranking up in LoL, StarCraft strategies, or whatever, you do let your conversation and social skills drop a bit. Not to mention if the only thing you have to talk about are gaming strategies, you're going to have a hard time talking to a non-gamer. Now on the flip side, if you get two like-minded gamers together who are into the same game, they will go on and on talking about it. Of course you have to force them out of their element first, because they'd both probably rather be playing the game instead of talking about it. I remember in high school the guys were talking games, so I asked if anyone had ever played Dark Reign, an RTS similar to StarCraft, which was my game at the time. My buddy Matt answered, "Yeah man, I play that." I instantly geeked out, started talking about it. "Isn't it so cool how you can infiltrate enemy bases, steal their research, and then build their structures and units for your own base?" Matt replied, "Yeah totally. Just kidding, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never played it." Goddamn you Matt. That was 16 years ago. And I still remember that cocktease. 3. About me, so you know where I am coming from. I should probably tell you a little about myself. I am 32, while writing this, born in 1983, so I grew up in the 8-bit Mario age. The Wizard was the coolest movie ever and Rad was the raddest movie ever. Treat yourself to those if you haven't already. Anyway, I grew up with the evolution of games and have been playing them my whole life. Would I change anything? Of course I would. What kind of moron runs into the first combo again after hitting reset? We always grow on what we learn, and try to improve going forward. Now I've given you a bit on my high school days, without ever mentioning any issues before that. Gaming honestly was never a problem before high school. I was always able to keep up my grades and my social life while gaming. I should also mention I've always played a sport, soccer then hockey, as a kid, and even through adulthood. I believe in high school gaming became a problem, and I lost that game/life balance due to a couple factors. 1. Games became a lot more addicting. Online gaming was getting bigger and better, and every serious gamer knows nothing is more addicting than multiplayer. Every time you play the game it is different, and you have everyone in the world to play with, challenge, and try to be better than. 2. I hated my high school. Elementary was awesome, I was a cool kid. Middle school sucked, it was very ghetto, lots of fights, kids stabbed in the parking lot. Then high school I switched over to a Catholic private school. Culture shock after culture shock. I had trouble making friends at the school. I am atheist, religion was a joke to me, and there I had to pray before every class. It was an odd time for me. You could say I used video games as an escape, but honestly that would be wrong. I played because they were the most interesting thing to me, and they were what I cared about most. 4. The escape. I have used games as an escape before when I've just wanted to mellow out and forget about everything else for a little while. I've never felt like that was a great fix or use for them though. It can sort of work, but if you're reusing them in that capacity, you're putting off something important you have to do. Of course, sometimes that little break is all that is required for you to gather yourself and attack the problem strong later on. I want to jump ahead to my adult life with games. I've been living alone for a couple of years. A little over a year ago I moved to Florida for that lovely warm weather, beaches, and low housing costs. I have a steady girlfriend and a mediocre/crappy part-time job that gives me more free time and most people my age. I don't make a lot of money or do too much that is useful. Honestly, I feel like my life has no purpose sometimes. This is the feeling you get when you have nothing to do. Every man needs quest, but often the real world doesn't give you that quest or princess to go save. I often get lazy with house chores because once I get into work mode, I can hammer out a week or two's worth of chores in one morning or afternoon. After that is done, I sit down and go, well, now what the fuck do I do? Play video games, that is what. My despair and boredom were at their highest when I got bored of all the games I currently had and just didn't give a shit about them or anything anymore. Classic signs of depression. I came right the fuck out of it and was re-energized when I discovered one of my old loves, Asheron's Call, World of Warcraft before World of Warcraft. was still playable and up and running. I've now got that passion to do something again, even if it is just playing a game. It keeps me up at night. I could stay up until 1 a.m. without showing any signs of fatigue because I am so into playing it, where without it, I was falling asleep at 9 p.m. and not knowing what I'd do in the morning. Outside of work, I would say TV, games, and the browsing the internet probably takes the most of our waking hours. Of course, people have different hobbies. Some read, some get into fitness, some play sports or hobbies. It's important we always have something to do, otherwise we start to slip into that depressing feeling of boredom and lack of purpose. I wonder how people in prison ever get by. Looked it up, ain't not that bad. I am not into the prison rape scene though. 5. Work. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about gaming in my life. When I was working 40 hours a week in a cubicle, I lived the cubicle life 6 years, between 2 jobs. Gaming never really got in my way at work. I had already overcome addiction and learned how to use it in moderation. I played games at home, and when I was at work, I was at work. However, there was one time I let myself slip back into gaming pretty hard. I started playing and creating StarCraft 2 maps. If you don't know what that entails, StarCraft 2's map editor is very complex and has a steep learning curve. Though I am not a coder, I believe its trigger editor is sort of a simplified version of coding. It was a very huge time commitment. I spent a little over a month logging long hours and staying up late working on one of my maps. Part of this was to try and satisfy my dream of making video games. I never could penetrate the industry though. I can't do art, I don't know how to code, and learning it was a bit too hard. What I wanted was to be a designer/consultant. My pitch was I could see what games like Counter-Strike and Halo had that other games at the time didn't, and why other FPSs at the time were failing or falling flat. I also wanted to make sure no disappointments, like Star Fox Assault, were ever released on my watch. Sadly, I don't think the job I wanted really exists, and it is probably something everyone thinks they can do to some degree. I will say the video game industry has matured quite a bit over the years, and you don't see as many of the blatant errors you used to see in games. Look at me getting off track. Sorry, but I thought the context of why I let games affect my work at all in my adult life was important. So there I was logging late hours into the night creating StarCraft 2 maps. Trigger editor, data editor, design. At work I would find my mind start to stray to my StarCraft maps. How could I improve them? How could I fix a bug? What designs could I implement? I could see it happening very clearly, gaming affecting my work life. I had to catch myself and take a step back. That's one thing I hope anyone reading this takes away. That when games or really any trivial thing gets in the way of something important in life, like work or school, that you recognize it and have the tools to stop it. If you were to ask my supervisor when this period was that I let games affect my work, they probably couldn't or would guess wrong, because I never really let it become a problem. I am not saying I was always the perfect employee, but video games never had any major impact on performance. When I did finish my maps, I did enter a short period of despair similar to the one you get when you re-bored of every game and don't have anything to do. It is caused by stopping and saying, well, what the fuck do I do now? If you don't have an answer to that, you can get slightly depressed until you do find an answer and get a new purpose. Most of us fill those gaps with watching TV, browsing the internet, and playing video games, in which case they are very useful. Is there something better we could be doing? Probably. But what? Fuck if I know. To anyone interested, my Warcraft 3 map was Helm's Deep CA, StarCraft 2 maps were Starship Troopers Abandoned and Starship Troopers Outpost. It's kind of funny, what takes hours in the map editor translates to mere seconds in the game. I had a few other projects/maps that will probably never see the light of day due to constraints with the editors, engines, or my skill with the editors. 6 Birds and the Bees. I originally wanted to include some advice about girls to youngsters. There are probably much better people, and I'd give it, but I am going to give a little anyway. The advice everyone seems to give the most is just be yourself. The thing they failed to mention or understand is that it's nearly impossible to be yourself when you're around a potential mate. Your mind races as you think about your life together. Would she make a good girlfriend? Wife. What can you say to her? How can you get her to sleep with you? What would your life be like with her? She is so hot. Sometimes all these thoughts are too much, and the brain just freezes. I read somewhere that there is a chemical reaction that goes on, but I couldn't tell you the details, just that it makes you dumb and fumble over your words. I will say a piece of advice that helped me. There are probably plenty of girls who you aren't sexually attracted to that you can talk to just fine. You're likely witty and charming around them and talk to them like you would anyone else. Those women are likely someone's significant other who they call beautiful and look forward to seeing. You can talk to them, but just not the ones you really want to be in a relationship with, so stop getting ahead of yourself and thinking about the future and all that bullshit. Envision they read just like one of the other girls you're not trying to have sex with, and you can probably talk to them like a normal human being. Sometimes this is easier said than done, and whatever chemical going off in your brain just takes over, but if you can pull it off, you should have some success. Be slightly warned, you may have a bit more trouble falling in love with this approach, but you will be a lot more grounded. Being in love makes you a lot stupider in relationships, so I can't necessarily say it's a bad thing. Another pitfall guys tend to fall into is trying to put all girls into the same category. Girls do this too, and you can tell every time one says all guys are the same. Every girl is different. What works on one girl won't necessarily work with another. Sure, there are a lot of similarities, but there is no magical formula to appeal to them all. When I was younger, I used to think there was some magical combination of words, and if I could just learn how to talk to women better, I could talk my way into her pants. It is not always what you say though. It is who you are. Think about what you like when you see a woman. Usually you can tell if you're into them just by looking at them. It is the same with them towards you. They pick who they want to be with just as much as you do. So you sort of have to become that person someone would want to date. It helps to get your life in order, and get rid of or fix those things you're self-conscious about. This brings us to the second most frequently used piece of advice guys are given, which is you need confidence. Girls love a guy with confidence. This is such an oversimplification it almost comes off as bullshit advice to me. Where does confidence come from? Confidence comes from knowing you will succeed, knowing what to do, practice, and having everything figured out. Knowing what you don't know it is a key step to improving, but it also lowers your confidence because you're aware of your faults. This is why sometimes you see stupid arrogant motherfuckers have more confidence because they're blissfully unaware of what they don't know, or how they look.
There.
So how do you get your confidence? Again, get your life in order. Know what you bring to the table, fix those things you're self-conscious about, and be someone that someone else would want. This doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire and drive an expensive car, though those things don't hurt, but you do have to be proud and like who you are. If you don't like yourself, why would anyone else like you? Well, as I say that, remember that even when you don't like yourself, there is probably someone out there, a couple people actually, that do like you. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed reading it and learned something. Some is a bit subjective, but what isn't? Take care, everyone. Edit grammar. Like you said, the expansion of the CCCP was expansionist, not imperialist. You'll find that if you look up imperialism on Google, the immediate answer it spits back at you is that it's just empire building. But Oxford is more specific, saying imperialism is a policy of extending a country's power and influence through colonization, use of military force, or other means. Colonialism is the complete antonym to communism in every single way. It is the process by which the bourgeoisie influence the aristocracy of the government into action by acquiring more land overseas and creating corporate monopolies on world trade, benefiting their country's merchant class. As Marx wrote in the Communist Manifesto, specifically in the first chapter, Bourgeois and Proletarians, the discovery of America. The rounding of the Cape opened up fresh ground for the rising bourgeoisie, the East Indian and Chinese markets, the colonization of America, trade with the colonies, the increase in the means of exchange, and in commodities generally, gave to commerce, to navigation, to industry, an impulse never before known, and thereby to the revolutionary element in the tottering feudal society, a rapid development. The expansion of the CCCP was expansionist, yes, and also did not really represent the idea of Marxist communism, as it was imposing an autocratic and distinctly oppressive government system on conquered areas, which really led to the continued oppression of the proletariat in the Soviet bloc. This aside, claiming that the CCCP was imperialist is a misunderstanding of the word.
No, we're not.
Out you get! Move quickly! No time to idle!
Run till your fate blade! There he is! Still isn't it over the floor?
A gift, sir, from Mr. Roth. You should be warned, Mr. Fry, that when Roth is angry with one, he generally brings suffering to many.
My dearest Jacob, alas, it seems our adventures together have come to a close. Although our time together was brief, it's left a lasting mark. I wish you well in all your future endeavors. Cordially, Maxwell. Post-scriptum. I'm putting on a show this evening. All of London will be there. Enclosed, please find your invitation.
Girl, am I pretty? Boy, no girl, do you even want to be with me forever? RNBOY, NORNGIRL? Do you even like me? RNBOY, NORNGIRL? Would you cry if I walked AWAY? RNBOY, Mourns he'd hurt enough, and was hurt. She walked away with tears in her EYESRNTHE boy grabbed her ARMRNBOY, you're not pretty. You're BEAUTIFULRNBOY, I don't want to be with you forever. I need to be with you FREVERRNBOY, I don't like you. I love YOURNBOY, I wouldn't cry if you walked away. I die if you walked AWAYRNBOY whispered, please stay with MERNGIRL, I will run tonight at midnight. Your true love will realize he/she loves you and something good will happen to you at 1 to 4 p.m. tomorrow. It could happen anywhere and get ready for the shock of your life. RN star, if you don't repost this to 5 other comments, you will have bad luck in relationships for the next 10 years. Warning, if you stop reading you will die tonight. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm 11 years old, but I'm dead now. I had no friends. If you do not post this to 20 pictures you will die tonight at exactly 11:59 p.m. Don't believe me? A guy named Jake read this and laughed. Later that night I took a knife from his kitchen and stabbed him to death. You don't want to be Jake, do you? A girl named Sandra posted it to only 10 pictures. Silly girl, she's only 11. But oh well. That day she saw me and ran to her grandma's house. She asked her could she use her bathroom red. This isn't fake. Apparently, if you copy and paste this to 10 comments in the next 10 minutes you will have the best day of your life tomorrow. You will either get kissed or asked out. If you break this chain you will see a little dead girl in your room tonight. In 53 minutes someone will say I love you, or I'm sorry. 11 minutes. Venn dialectic. Step 1 kiss your hand. Step 2 say your crush is namer. Step 3 close your hand. Step 4 say a weekday. Step 5 say your namer. Step 6 open your hand. Step 7 repost this to 15 other picture. Honestly, I'll say it. Chicharito is the greatest striker of our generation, and that is an absolute fact. The proof is in this goal that he scored, along with all the others. From now on, if anyone doubts Javier Chicharito Hernandez, do them a favor and show them this goal, because it is very possible that they are just ignorant to the fact, and have yet to be shown the light. When it's all said and done, and we are in the midst of a nuclear winter, after the USA and Russia bomb the world into an oblivion, the old will tell the young the stories of times before the war. Of our cultures, our advancements, our proudest moments, our saddest moments, and somewhere between all that Javier Chicharito Hernandez will be mentioned as the greatest striker of our time. A true hero, not only for footballers, but for people everywhere. Josh Nefsheld, I actually know everything about Star Wars. Not only did I see the prequels 128 times in theaters, I've written 2 books on Star Wars and contributed a scholarly essay to a 3rd. Type my name into Amazon if you really want to learn about Star Wars. Until then, STFU. And if you knew anything, you would have seen the Clone Wars, which is 40 hours of Lucas-developed and approved material. He was heavily involved in the stories and meetings about Anakin's heroics in the Clone Wars. Get a clue, dude? Greetings, everyone. I am new. 1 second, let me get this pork out of the way. My name is Katie, but you can call me the Penguin of Doom. I'm laughing aloud. As you can plainly see, my actions have no pattern whatsoever. That is why I have come here. To meet similarly patternless individuals, such as myself. I am 13, mature for my age, however. And I enjoy watching Invader Zim with my girlfriend. I am bisexual. Please approach this subject maturely. It is our favorite television show, as it adequately displays stochastic manners of behavior such as we possess. She behaves without order, of course, but I wish to meet more individuals of her and my kind. As the saying goes, the more, the merrier. It is to laugh. Anyway, I hope to make many friends here, so please comment freely. Doom. That is simply one of many examples of my random actions. Fairly well. I wish you much love and waffles. Yours, the Penguin of Doom.
Champion! Yes, indeed!
This is exactly what I am talking about, folks. I'm going to preface this by saying that while usually I have more important things to do than pointlessly argue with somebody who is obviously too entrenched in their own delusions to see past the who got burned more phase of argument, as of the moment I do not. So I'm going to go ahead and waste my time with this. The first thing wrong with your reply was that you of course did not attempt at all to give your ideas any sort of validation. You just threw them in my face, like confetti. The rest of the comment acted like a gust of wind that made sure they didn't stick. Secondly, you tried to shift the reader's perception of who is in the wrong by directing their attention to who I am, rather, and the assertion I am trying to make. This is ad hominem. Thirdly, how does you knowing who I am have anything to do with the conversation we are having? I am telling you that you are acting childish, and it does not take any knowledge of who you are talking about to acknowledge that. On the fourth note, I'm going to backtrack a bit and say that I am not having a tantrum. Any hint of frenzied emotional ranting is coming from the way you choose to read the comments of those you don't like. That says a lot about how you portray people who disagree with you on a website. Fifth note, this didn't go how you planned at all. To be honest, I was completely expecting that you would respond with something that didn't make any sense. I just couldn't put my finger on what it was going to be like. This is the point where you didn't feel like trying hard to put something together I could take seriously. It seems like all you were aiming to do with this line was to convince me somehow that I failed in our conversation. This is not an argument, this is not a competition. I am telling you something, and you are listening. The only reason I am responding to you is for the sake of those who might come across this comment thread. Sixth note, Gonymus, you hypocritical, hurt-ass children, that I can get behind, huzzah. I could say something about how this is out of place, but I'm not going to pretend I just didn't. I am very much glad you are taking a hiatus. You are doing a public service to Reddit. Thank you, and I hope you come to your senses once you graduate high school. A liberal Muslim homosexual ACLU lawyer professor and abortion doctor was teaching a class on Karl Marx. Known atheist, before the class begins, you must get on your knees and worship Marx, and accept that he was the most highly evolved being the world has ever known, even greater than Jesus Christ. At this moment, a brave, patriotic, pro-life Navy SEAL champion, who had served 1,500 tours of duty, and understood the necessity of war, and fully supported all military decision made by the United States, stood up and held up a rock. How old is this rock, Pinhead? The arrogant professor smirked quite Jewishly, and smugly replied, 4.6 billion years, you stupid Christian. Wrong. It has been 5,000 years since God created it. If it was 4.6 billion years old and evolution, as you say, is real, then it should be an animal now. The professor was visibly shaken, and dropped his chalk and copy of Origin of the Species. He stormed out of the room crying those liberal crocodile tears. The same tears liberals cry for the poor, who today live in such luxury that most own refrigerators, when they jealously try to claw justly earned wealth from the deserving job creators. There is no doubt that at this point our professor, Deshaun Washington, wished he had pulled him